elements that make up the zero trust network architecture itself, and it sounds like the zero trust access is one of the components. But what are the other components that go into making up a ZTNA environment?
Yeah, I think if we look at the access, so the way we kind of position this with customers now is there's probably two core areas to focus on. So there's the access piece. So this is, you know, users to applications, effectively securing that connection. Again, going through that verification, identification, authentication, approval type process. And then there's the kind of second half of this is looking at trying to create a zero trust environment within a private or public data center. So this is more, in that side, this is more around segmentation and almost like micro segmentation of applications and services. So building a fairly traditional, you know, logical design, but it's micro segmented within that environment. So applications can't talk to applications without that same level of authentication, authorization, and approval. So really trying to provide some, you know, lockdown protection within that environment. The access side of things, when we look at the components there, I guess there's probably 2 or 3 key components in that process. So, so if you start at the kind of user level or device level, typically there would be a client, quite similar to a VPN client that which most organizations would have on their machines today. But it would be a ZTNA based client, a zero trust network access client. That client would talk to a cloud service from a provider, a kind of secure service edge type service. Mm-hmm. Within that cloud, effectively there'll be a couple of things. So there'll be some inspection and identity management there. There'd be something called a trust broker. So the trust broker is something that would talk directly to an organization's IDAM platform. So it could be, for example, you know, Azure AD. So that's where all the policies sat around what users can access. Mm-hmm. So, you know, there might be a specific policy for a group of users in finance, for instance, that have got access to finance platforms and maybe some productivity platforms. So what that trust broker would do, along with the secure service edge capabilities, is do a lot of things like posture checking, conditional access checking, sync up to the identity management and policy management process to say what can this person access. Mm-hmm. And once it's gone through that verification, authentication, and approval process, what it does then ultimately is it calls into an application connector, which sits in front of the application in the data center. That application connector then effectively establishes connection back into the trust broker, and then it joins the two things together. So where this is really strong from a security point of view is the end user never talks directly to the application.
Right.
So you basically, you know, providing some, you know, really stringent security around never allowing any direct access into that application. That application effectively is pulled together. The end user connectivity and the application connectivity is brought together by that trust broker, and it's only brought together based on the parameters set by the identity management and authorization policy. So, you know, it's just really clever, but it provides a massive, you know, improvement in terms of perimeter security, because you can pretty much turn off any inbound access other than the trust broker to your applications.
And you were saying as well that it's continually doing this verification. Yes. So again, talking about that sort of agile environment, it's you know, it's not just right, you're inside the perimeter, you can do what you like. It's continually securing.
Yeah, and again, that's another enhancement. So traditional security models, once you're through the boundaries, effectively, you've usually got some sort of, you know, lateral movement across the environment, and that's not necessarily checked, because, you know, you've gone through all the inspection, you've gone through the approval. So once you're in. If a device becomes compromised, then potentially, you know, it's open to bad actors and things like that. Whereas the key concept around the zero trust network access products is it's continually verifying. So it's checking in, and again, you can do this based on different levels of application that you're accessing. So if you've got, you know, your tier 1 applications, you might want to run that verification process more often, for instance. but it's continually checking against posture changes or signature changes or SSL certificate failures, any of that kind of stuff, and it will kill the connection if it sees that there's something wrong. So yeah, it's just a huge improvement in terms of securing the network access.